examinees, welcome back to my channel. In today's vlog, we will have forensic ballistics, a part of criminalistics, and that's going to be on your examination day 2. And this time, I decided to give you a question and answer method of review for the benefit of those who cannot afford to participate on screen. So all you have to do is to listen carefully. But just the same disclaimer first, everything that you will hear and see on this blog is for learning purposes only. Nothing more, nothing less. So good luck and happy learning. Okay, let's start with some TikToks. I will be giving you TikToks this time, So time management, you need that, of course. Stop the rush. Start now. Okay? Do not rush everything. Okay? Stop cramming. Alam nyo na po yun kung anong ibig ko sabihin. Hindi yung next month yung exam, ngayon pa lang po kayo nagsisimulang mag-review. Iwasan po natin yung ganon. Then, next is review one subject at a time. Okay? So, hindi po dapat magulo yung pagre-review nyo. So, isang subject for today or for 2 days or for 3 days, then followed by another 3 days for another subject. Okay? Then, do not put so much time in choosing. If you know the best answer, wag na po kayong magpatagal doon sa iisang number na yon dahil napakarami pang susunod na pagpipilian at mga tanong. Okay? So, in reviewing, get the best answer immediately. Doon pa lang sa pagre-review natin, best answer po agad ang inyong aaralin at tatandaan. And avoid being rattled by the tricky questions. Maraming mga tricky questions, of course. Sabi nga, choose the best answer, no? And eliminate yung hindi kailangan. So, followed by, of course, relax and make sure to answer every question with confidence, no? Huwag yung nag-aalinlangan pa. So, meaning, kung nag-aalinlangan ka, hindi tugma or hindi tama yung nasa isip mo, okay? Kung ano yung alam mo. Kasi nag-second thought ka. So, be very sure to answer every question with confidence. Meaning, alam mo yung isasagot mo kasi tamang-tama lang yung inaral mo. Okay? And of course, don't forget to pray before and after the exam. Okay? So much for that. Best of luck. Without further ado, let's begin the review. And for now, we will have the Q&A. Okay? So, question number 1. Blank is the cartridge contains the primer in the center of the base where it can be struck by firing pin of the action. The answer is center fire. Number 2. Blank the portion of the action that holds the cartridge ready for firing. The answer is chamber. Number 3 question. Blank a constriction of a shotgun bore at the muzzle that determines the pattern of the fired shot. The answer is choke. Number 4. Blank pulling the trigger both cocks the hammer and fires the gun. The answer is double action. Number 5. 2 barrels side by side or one on top of the other, usually on a shotgun. The answer is double barrel. Number 6. The bore size of a shotgun determined by the number of round lead balls of bore diameter that equals a pound. The answer is gauge. And what is that metal rod or plate that typically drives a firing pin to strike the cartridge primer to detonate the powder? The answer is hammer. Number 7. Number 8. Blank the way in which powder is ignited. Old muzzle-loading weapons use flintlock or percussion cups. Modern gun use primers that are rimfire or center fire. The answer is ignition. Number 9 question. This is a device for storing cartridges in a repeating firearm for loading into the chamber. The answer is magazine. Okay? Number 10, Blank is for rifles and handguns, an improved version of a standard cartridge which uses the same caliber and bullets but has more powder, giving the fired bullet more energy. The answer is Magnum. Number 11 question. The end of the barrel out of which the bullet comes. The answer is muzzle. Number 12. Blank, the synonym for a handgun that does not have a revolving cylinder. The answer is pistol. Number 13. Blank, a handgun that has a cylinder with holes to contain the cartridges. The cylinder revolves to bring the cartridge into position to be fired. This is a single action when the hammer must be cocked before the trigger can fire the weapon. It is a double action when pulling the trigger both cocked and fires the gun. The answer is revolver. Number 14. The spiral grooves cut inside a gun barrel that gives the bullet a spinning motion. The metal between the grooves is called a land. The answer is rifling or rifling. And number 15, a mechanism of an action to prevent firing of the gun. The answer is safety. Number 16, blank, a gun with a smooth bore that shoots cartridges that contain shot or small metal pellets of lead or steel as the projectiles or projectiles. The answer is shotgun. Number 17 question. The device on top of the barrel that allow the gun to be aimed. The answer is sight. Number 18. Blank, a device that fits over the muzzle of the barrel to muffle the sound of a gunshot. Most work by muffling the escape of gases. The answer is silencer. Number 19. The hammer must be manually cocked before the trigger can be pulled to fire the gun. The answer is single action. Number 20. A wood, metal, or plastic frame that holds the barrel in action and allows the gun to be held firmly. The answer is stock. Okay? Now let's go to multiple choice. Number 21. The study of the processes originally accelerating the projectile. Letter A, internal ballistic. Letter B, transition ballistic. Letter C, external ballistic. And letter D, terminal ballistic. The answer is internal ballistic. Number 22. The study of the passage of the projectile through a medium. Letter A, internal ballistic. Letter B, transition ballistic. Letter C, external ballistic. Letter D, terminal ballistic. Again, the study of the passage of the projectile through a medium. The answer is external ballistic. Number 23. The study of the projectile's behavior when it leaves the barrel and the pressure behind the projectile is equalized. Letter A, internal ballistics. Letter B, transition ballistics. Letter C, external ballistics. Letter D, terminal ballistics. Again, the study of the projectile's behavior when it leaves the barrel and the pressure behind the projectile is equalized. The answer is B, transition ballistics. Number 24. It is also called a round. Letter A, bullet. Letter B, shell. Letter C, primer. Letter D, cartridge. The answer is cartridge. Number 25. Employed a burning wick on a spring that was locked, back, and released into a pan of powder upon pulling a trigger. Letter A, match lock. Letter B, wheel lock. Letter C, flint lock. Letter D, percussion. The answer is letter A, much luck. Number 26. Consists of a hammer that was locked and when released, struck a cup containing a volatile primer that ignited on impact, sending a flame through a small tube into the barrel chamber. Letter A, matchlock. Letter B, wheel lock. Letter C, flintlock. And letter D, percussion. The answer is letter D, percussion. Number 27. It is a missile guided only during the relative brief initial powdered phase of flight whose course is subsequently governed by the laws of classical mechanics. Letter A, ballistics. B, forensic ballistics. Letter C, ballistic missile. And letter D, ballistic fingerprinting. Again, it is a missile guided only during the relative brief initial powdered phase of flight whose course is subsequently governed by the laws of classical mechanics. The answer is ballistic missile, letter C. Number 28. It involves the analysis of a bullet impacts to determine the information of use to a court or other part of the legal system. Letter A, ballistics. Letter B, forensic ballistics. Letter C, ballistic missile. Letter D, ballistic fingerprinting. The answer is letter B, forensic ballistics. Number 29. It involves analyzing firearm, ammunition, and tool mark evidence in order to establish whether a certain firearm or tool was used in the commission of a crime. Letter A, ballistics. Letter B, forensic ballistics. Letter C, ballistic missile. Letter D, ballistic fingerprinting. The answer is letter D, ballistic fingerprinting. Again, it involves analyzing firearm, ammunition, and tool mark evidence in order to establish whether a certain firearm or tool was used in the commission of crime. The answer is letter D. Number 30. The science of mechanics that deals with the flight behavior and effects of projectiles. Letter A, ballistics. Letter B, forensic ballistics. Letter C, ballistic missile. Letter D, ballistic fingerprinting. The answer is letter A, ballistics. Again, ballistics is the science of mechanics that deals with the flight behavior and effects of projectiles. Number 31. The large ring surrounding the breech end of the barrel, which provides a connection between the barrel and the recoil system. Letter A, trigger guard. Letter B, anvil. Letter C, trigger spring. Letter D, yoke. The answer is letter D, yoke. Number 32. Form on the bearing surface of bullets as they enter the rifling of the barrel before the bullet engages the rifling or the rifling. Letter A, shearing. Letter B, proof marks. Letter C, provisional proof. Letter D, slippage mark. Again, form of the bearing surface of bullets as they enter the rifling or the rifling of the barrel before the bullet engages the rifling. Letter D is the answer, slippage mark. Number 33, it is the examination and testing of firearms by a recognized authority according to certain rules and stamped with a mark to indicate that they are safe for sale and used by the public. Letter A, shearing. Letter B, provisional proof. Letter C, proof marks. Letter D, slippage mark. The answer is letter C, proof marks. Number 34. An internal metal component in a boxer primer assembly against with the priming mixture is crushed by the firing pin below. Letter A, shearing. Letter B, trigger guard. Letter C, anvil. Letter D, trigger spring. An internal metal component in a boxer primer assembly against which the priming mixture is crushed by the firing pin below. The answer is anvil. Okay? Number 35. A flange metallic used in shot cell. Again, a flange metallic cup used in a shot cell primer assemblies that provides a rigid support for the primer cup and anvil. Letter A, paper disc. Letter B, battery cup. Battery cup. Letter C, primer mixture. Letter D, primer cup. Again, the answer is battery cup. A flange metallic cup used in shot shell primer assemblies that provides a rigid support for the primer cup and anvil. That is battery cup. Number 36, an action requiring the manual cocking of the hammer before sufficient pressure on the trigger releases the firing mechanism. Letter A, single action. Letter B, automatic. Letter C, double action. Letter D, semi-automatic. The answer is letter A, single action. Number 37, the cutting of metal from the surface of a bullet due to cylinder misalignment in a revolver. Letter A, abrasion marks. Letter B, shaving. Letter C, abrasive machining. Letter D, rolling black. The answer is letter B, shaving. A form of the bearing surface of bullets as they enter the rifling of the barrel before the bullet engages the rifling. Letter A, skid marks. Letter B, action marks. Letter C, slide. Letter D, anvil marks. The answer is letter A, skid marks. Number 39, a discipline of forensic science which has its primary concern to determine if a bullet, cartridge, case, or other ammunition component was fired by a particular firearm. Letter A, ballistic examination. Letter B, firearms identification. Letter C, ballistics. Letter D, tool mark identification. The answer is letter B, firearms identification. Number 40, a discipline of forensic science which has as its primary concern to determine if a tool mark was produced by a particular tool. A, ballistic examination. B, firearms identification. C, forensic ballistics. Letter D, tool mark identification. The answer is letter D, tool mark identification. Number 41, essentially two microscopes connected to an optical bridge which allows the viewer to observe two objects simultaneously with the same degree of magnification. Letter A, compound microscope. Letter B, comparison microscope. Letter C, dual microscope. And letter D, complex microscope. The answer is letter B, comparison microscope. Number 42, he is considered by many firearm examiners to be the father of firearm and tool mark identification. Letter A, Calvin Goddard. Letter B, John Fisher. Letter C, Colonel Todd Hunter. Letter D, Philip Grabel. Again, he is considered by many firearms examiners to be the father of firearm and tool mark identification. The answer is Calvin H. Goddard. Number 43, the earliest known tool mark comparison case involving firearms occurred in London in letter A, 1835, letter B, 1837, letter C, 1836, letter D, 1838. The answer is letter A, 1835. Number 44, published the first work describing wounds resulting from small caliber firearms. Letter A, Henry Goddard. Letter B, John Sedgwick. Letter C, Monsieur Nollies. Letter D, Stonewall Jackson. The answer is Monsieur Nollies. Number 45, the negative impressions on the bearing surface of a bullet caused by the riffling in the barrel from which it was fired. Letter A, lapping. Letter B, land and groove impressions. Letter C, obscuration. Letter D, parkerizing. The answer is letter B, land and groove impressions. Number 36, the ignition component of a cartridge. Letter A, priming mixture. Priming powders, letter B. Priming charge for letter C. Letter D, primer. The answer is primer, the ignition component of a cartridge. Number 47, one from Hartford, Connecticut, who produced the first practical revolver and became famous for its caliber 45. Letter A, Samuel Colt. Letter B, Carl Walter. Letter C, Oliver Winchester. Letter D, John C. Garand. The answer is letter A, Samuel Colt. Number 48. It is considered by the historians that the age of a gunpowder began with its first use as a propellant for a projectile on A, 1313, B, 1413, C, 1280, D, 1350. The answer is A, 1313. Number 49. It is the equal and opposite reaction of the gun against the forward movement of the bullet during the explosions. Letter A, residual pressure. B, recoil. C, backfire. And D, misfire. The answer is letter B, recoil. Number 50, of course, last but not the least, the noise created at the muzzle point of the gun due to the sudden escape of the expanding gas coming in contact with the air in the surrounding atmosphere at the muzzle point. Letter A, muzzle blast. Letter B, muzzle energy. Letter C, range noise. And letter D, fire power. The answer is letter A, muzzle blast. Okay?